For life.
Yeah. Bullet cast. What's going on? Stacy. This elite podcast in here. Ain't nobody better. Look. Yeah. Listen to us every time we live in the side. When you turn it on, it's just defining the mind. If you feel it, our opinions is great. When everything we moving now in the state, turn us on. If the feeling is right, every opinion now comes from the heart. No time we move with a part. We on the radio, it's wrestling.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, your mother's favorite podcaster, aka the microphone Messiah, Philip Antoine. I am joined by Mr. No Days Off, Brandon Tanguma, and from 107.7 The Bone in the Click podcast, Baby Huey.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, Danny?
Hey, that's character infringement right there, what you're doing.
I know.
Inside joke.
Right, I don't need him coming after me. You feel? Oh, man.
You want a thumb to the throat.
Yeah. You know, Baby Huey, we usually have you on once a year for the end of year awards and whatnot. But I was like, you know what?
Nobody else wanted to be on the podcast, so we decided, why don't we bring you on?
Wow.
That's not even true. I make the decisions here. Don't say we. Don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't know you were coming on until I saw your face on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
I don't get told anything.
Well, it's so great to see your guys' faces. I miss you guys. Well, Phil, I just saw like 3 days ago in person.
Right. Saw you 2 weekends in a row. Wow.
I know. We hung out at Pacheco Square Garden, the home of many promotions here in the Bay Area. But that night we got to see a little ACW, Action Coast Wrestling. That was very fun. And
had food with Ref Gil Theo afterwards. It was a great time.
We shut the place down. They kicked us out.
Literally while they're mopping the floor. Love it. Oh man! But we are here to talk about some professional wrestling. SmackDown. We don't have to recap the whole show, obviously, because it was leading into a PLE. But one note from it: Paul Heyman says he hasn't spoken to Roman Reigns since WrestleMania. That kind of draws up. Nick Aldis is like, what did you just say? So Paul Heyman took Roman Reigns out of the draft. Roman Reigns did not take himself out of the draft. I have a saying on this podcast: everything counts. I stole it from Sam Roberts. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a note from whenever Roman returns. Down the line. This is going to be a nice little side note in the story. I like it. I like it a lot. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we touched a little bit on our Backlash recap. If you haven't, go listen to it. Not right now, after the show. But I enjoyed it. Like you said, it's kind of building some character work outside of the actual show. Wonder what this means for Roman. Like, does Nick Aldis just not contact Roman? Can he not contact Roman? Is Paul Heyman the only option? The only voice of communication? And now that his phone is destroyed, there's no way on God's green earth that Paul Heyman can talk to Roman Reigns now.
Well, I'm sure, Paul Heyman, that wasn't the only place where he had Roman Reigns' phone number, Paul Heyman's a smart man. And does he still have the BlackBerry? Do we know?
That's the trap phone. He used that off screen.
Right.
I hope so. Then he could put it on display at the next WWE World WrestleMania weekend on display and like all the other Hall of Fame memorabilia.
And things.
Yeah.
Side note, I saw that the Nokia is coming back. I don't know if that's true or not. random thing I saw on the internet. But Huey, what are your thoughts on Heyman taking Roman out of the draft?
I am so just like, I love just the this new layer of mystery. Like, what is this? What is happening here? It makes you wonder. Remember, was it last year WrestleMania? Paul Heyman at the press conference says we're just in the third inning, and I think a lot of people assumed that was the third inning of like Roman Reigns' title reign. But as we all know, Philip, sorry to remind you, he's no longer our WWE champion anymore.
This is my tribal chief.
So really, I wonder, are we that was the third inning of just the bloodline story? So now it's like we're a whole new chapter of this bloodline story. I'm really. I don't know like what's going on here, because I feel like what we're seeing develop and what I've kind of seen other podcasters and other wrestling media people kind of are guessing is it looks like Solo Sikoa is creating his own bloodline, his own evil bloodline, if you want to call it that, as we saw him, Tama Tonga, his brother Tongaloa showed up now. There are reports that Jacob Fatu is going to show up at some point. That's just
You know
allegedly.
what? Enough of
Speculation.
this. Let's
And
just
then they
call
don't
and
want,
ask
and then
him.
they don't want Jacob Fatu to be on WWE because apparently he's too good and he's going to overshadow Solo. Apparently.
I'm
Exactly.
tired of it. Let's just call and ask him, guys.
So I wonder, so the four of them are going to be like this new evil bloodline, bad bloodline. Everyone's kind of just calling that this faction here. I wonder, is like Solo, is he the tribal chief or is he more like a lieutenant for The Rock? Like The Rock is in charge of this new faction, all because in retaliation, he's pissed off at Roman Reigns for dropping the title and dropping kind of his family being in charge of WWE, having that power. So I wonder, is Paul Heyman knows something is up and he's trying to protect Roman Reigns from this new regime, and then therefore one day Roman makes his big return. He's gonna have a big babyface return, get the Usos reunited somehow, and they form like the good bloodline, the babyface bloodline, and we're gonna get like a true civil war, not the civil war we had last year, but a new civil war of like two factions, and then could Roman and the Usos patch things up with Sami Zayn and get him involved, and this could lead like to a War Games match come November. Got bad bloodline versus good bloodline.
Right.
But yeah, but so with Paul Heyman, his role in all this, that's where I'm kind of confused. It's like, is he trying to protect Roman, knowing that The Rock and who's like the big puppet master behind this, he's trying to protect him? I don't know. That's I want to speculate, and we can fantasy talk all we want here, like what I just said, but I'm really fascinated with Paul Heyman's role in all this. Like, he looks scared to be around everyone. Like, he's afraid to get out right now.
I think he just doesn't know what's going on. Like he's finding out things as they happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Rock, I think when he comes back, he's gonna obviously deal with Cody and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, maybe he does this thing with Cody whenever he's done filming his movie. And then that can lead into him and Roman at a later time. But I mean, it's Bloodline Civil War. I mean, we actually got an email about like Bloodline members or whatever. So I mean, we can talk about that I guess later. But yeah, I mean, those are the rumors. Obviously people keep the rumors that Jake is coming eventually. Like I keep telling people, wherever he goes, he's gonna make an impact. Wink, wink. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it has the potential to be if it does happen, if it's, let's say, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, Sola Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu versus a reuniting Usos and Roman, and throw Sammy in there, which when Sammy reunites with them, if that happens, that's going to hit like crack and it's going to be great. But yeah, I mean, that it could be the potential to be the greatest war games of all time if that was the case.
Absolutely, because arguably the Bloodline's the greatest storyline ever in professional wrestling at this point now, as far as what they've accomplished and all the main event players involved here.
That is true. I've always kind of like, when we talk about things that are like greatest of all time, I'm like, well, how can we say that? It just happened with this and the revenue that they've grossed. And I mean, we've been at the shows, we've seen the t-shirts, bro. Even members of the family that are on the indies, that one is up. I mean, you've seen it shows like it's a wildfire. But
you think about it with Roman, what he started as the tribal chief, and now because of his influence, how many people have been elevated because of this storyline. Jey Uso, he's now main event Jey Uso. Jimmy, Solo,
still Jimmy.
He's not still. I mean, he got elevated, a little bit. But I mean, you look Jey Uso. I mean, look at his entrance in France. I mean, it was crazy. That all stems from Roman Reigns sitting next to Paul Heyman during the pandemic, and here we are now.
Yep.
We can go on outside the ring. Big news. We finally know WrestleMania 41 is going down, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's later on in April 19th and 20th.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Explain it, Phil. What's the significance of these numbers? Like,
I was going to say something very, very bad, but I'm not going to.
I've been told there are a lot of vitamin stores in and around Las Vegas, and like April 19th or 20th, I forget which day it is. It's like some sort of like celebration of health.
Yeah.
It's health and wellness and stability and all that good jazz. But yeah, boys, Las Vegas. I've been to the past two WrestleMania weekends. I went to WrestleMania this year. But yeah, I'm excited. I could drive to this one. Oh man, we're about to party it up. This is about to be the craziest Mania weekend of all time.
I'm with you. I'm very excited. I know Minneapolis was rumored for the last year.
Sorry about
Apparently,
it.
yeah, but apparently that fell through. And I think one of the city
God.
members kind of announced like they thought they had it, but then I guess Las Vegas came through last minute with a better offer. And I think the influence the Super Bowl had at Las Vegas earlier this year, obviously, I think played a big role in WWE's like, oh, we want to recreate that too.
Well, yeah, because like they had the press conference there, so I immediately thought, okay, at the press conference they're gonna announce Mania's at in Vegas.
Mhm.
I just thought that, but then we didn't know. And but I mean, this is great. I mean, so you're gonna get two things. You're gonna get obviously the diehards, the people that travel from across the country and or even around the world
Mhm.
that are gonna go to Mania, and then you're also gonna get the casuals that might walk into a GCW and see bundles of light tubes flying and be like, oh my god, this is completely scary. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then you're gonna attract new fans, man. Like I mean, people are gonna be going down there and stuff. I know Knox Pro's planning something. I know West Coast Pro has announced that their team will be on hand, ready to help with ring rental and crew if needed. So
So you're saying the casuals can maybe wander into a wrestling show that weekend and see Sancho Demera wrestling?
I don't know. That's Sancho guy. I mean, I hear he's kind of a hard ass and everything like that. I
He
guess
cheats. He's got his gloves filled with illegal foreign objects in there, hitting people. Because he's
possibly,
not that strong, but he apparently can knock people out.
possibly, man. I mean, he's running around with Beatrice Domino and
He's a cheater.
some Caucasian man. Yeah, they're doing their things. But yeah, man. I mean, WrestleMania Vegas. I'm sorry, it's gonna be something special. I'm excited. Brandon, come on, man, pull up.
I'm very excited. I when Double or Nothing was around. Well, I guess still around. But I love going to Vegas, and I missed out on the LA one 2 years ago. And I will say there's a very, very, very good chance I will be going to Las Vegas next year for WrestleMania. And it might be 420, but it is also, I believe, Easter weekend. And so I think that's
Yes.
another reason why.
This is gonna be the most celebrated weekend of all time.
I think that's another reason why Vegas kind of put in this very lucrative bid to WWE because it's a holiday. There's probably going to be a lack of normal quote unquote Vegas visitors there, so you kind of bring in the wrestling crowd, which I'm excited with. If you need any Vegas tips and tricks, let me know because I've been there a bunch, so it's going to be a good time.
Right, absolutely.
Well, the other thing too, keep in mind, guys. Well, one, Brandon, you can scout where the A's are going to play in the near future, right? You can see where the ballpark's going to go, and right. I mean, just saying.
What's a better, baby? Who has a better record currently? I like to live in the present. I don't like to live in the future. That would be
what's up with
the
the-
Oakland Athletics.
I saw. What's up
Hey,
with
Giants
that
won
game?
tonight.
That Texas game. What was
Yeah,
up?
the A's won today too. They may have lost the other part of the doubleheader, but that's okay.
Who'd they
But no, but okay, all seriousness. The other thing too, guys, keep in mind, you just said the dates. It's like the third weekend in April. Normally, WrestleMania is like the last weekend in March or the first weekend in April.
Could you
So-
imagine?
But it's later in the month of April now. It's like 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later than
They don't
normally.
want to go. They don't want to go head to head with the Final Four or any
Exactly.
part of the NCAA tournament.
Exactly. So I know there was rumors a couple weeks ago that they might, or Nick Khan said he might want to go to was thinking about what, May or something like that, or
That's crazy.
but that's the thing. It's like, look at the dates. It's 2 weeks later than normal.
Yes.
So yeah, it is true. They don't want to compete with the Final Four tournament, the March Madness. So I think that's kind of cool that they pushed it a little bit later. And as you said, Easter weekend, 420, like it's kind of like a little bit of a nicer weekend, I think, for people to travel and do stuff there.
So, I mean, like this year they had like a 6-week build, like to WrestleMania, just television. Could you imagine like an 8-week build, just television, no PLE in between, whatever it would be? Plus, we have a lot of PLE.
I mean, I would assume we're going to get another. I mean, it's like every off-brand pay-per-view is an international show at this point, but they're probably going to run some sort of early March pay-per-view.
And this
Yeah.
has the opportunity for like some cool like television, the Spears being talked about. The Spheres being talked about a lot.
the Sphere.
Yes, the Sphere.
Even the Apex where NXT Battlegrounds going to be
Apex,
next
yeah,
or this month.
Run the MGM, you know.
I mean,
how
pretty much
cool-
every.
T-Mobile, yeah.
I
How
mean,
cool would
every
it be
hotel has like some little arena.
if they
Mhm.
had Cody Rhodes main eventing in the MGM where he wrestled his brother at the first AEW show?
I'm just excited because it's on the West Coast again, so it's like obviously for us easier to
Yes, yeah.
travel to.
8 hours.
But here's the thing: I know West Coast are usually not as favorite for WrestleMania because of like the daytime, the Pacific time, because of like when it was in Santa Clara at Levi's, it was like
Right later.
daylight for most of the show, and it took forever to get nighttime.
Isn't Allegiant an indoor arena?
So that's what I'm getting at. Allegiant is an indoor stadium, so they can control. They can cover the windows
And
and
even
no
more
sunlight.
indoor than what LA was, because technically LA is an outdoor quote unquote venue.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So even though it's West Coast, they can, create the setting of nighttime and therefore more the spectacle of the lights. And actually, doesn't Legion not have pyro, are allowed to do pyro? I don't know if Brandon, if you know
I'm
that.
not 100% sure on that, but I
Okay.
know it's like a very intimate stadium to where there's not like there's not a jumbotron like overhead like Jerry World or stuff like that. So they're probably they might
Mhm.
do some sort of canopy setup.
It's
But
it's Mania. I mean, they're making a lot of money. They just made $25 million. Like they'll pay whatever for some pyro.
Mhm. Mhm.
Brandon, can you pull the newest WWE releases?
well, Philip, I already knew you were going to ask me that, so I've been pulled up the WWE releases.
Wow, 7 years in, you finally got it, huh?
I'm good for something. I know my role here is to run an AEW. We do the pay-per-views and then to pull up releases or offshoot listicles.
Yes. List off the namicals.
So a lot of lesser known names, kind of NXT
Wow.
names that people aren't going to be too aware of. We got Boa, we got Daryl Mason, I Miss Diaz. Shout out Miss Diaz, T's and P's. Hopefully you find work somewhere. Ezekiel Bolligan, Julian Baldy, Keyshawn Leflore, Kia Saint, Trey Bearhill, Valentina Feroz, and Vlad Pavlenko. And then the two big names, main roster-esque names with Drew Gulak and Gable Steveson. Drew Gulak has been the center of some controversy with Ronda Rousey, and then in the Backlash post-show press conference, Triple H once again kind of put his foot in his mouth, going after Fightful and I think PW Insider or something like that, and saying, "Oh,
I don't think he put his foot in his mouth.
well, I mean, usually these press conferences, nothing good comes out of these things. It's always, someone says something that pisses somebody off."
Bro, Yeet got more over than it's ever been at one of these press conferences. Stop. I mean, look, it's kind of like the reaction I have to like a lot of these sources and all this other stuff. That's all that was. But yeah, he said Drew Gulak was not fired; his contract just wasn't renewed. And then Gable Steveson, obviously, he's been at the helm of controversy. The rumor mill is, he
Not a great guy.
thought he was hot shit and didn't think he was
And then I also saw that there was the Olympic trials a couple weeks ago. They waited to then cut him now, and now he can't go back and try for the Olympics. So he's like doubly screwed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had the match with Corbin. It went the way it went. Just kind of funny. Like, he's the only guy to ever be drafted to a major brand in WWE and never appear, never wrestle, nothing.
Hey, what about our boy Odyssey Jones?
Love Odyssey Jones.
Which he got drafted again, I think, because I don't know.
It's a possibility. I mean, look, man, Gable Steveson. I mean, incredibly talented athlete, great wrestler. But I mean, like, you're not Angle, you're not Brock, bro. Don't come in here thinking you're better than doing what's needed to be. I kind of wonder, like, if Hunter hadn't got sick, because I think at 38, Hunter was supposed to wrestle Gable. I kind of wanted to see like what kind of story they could have told there, how that would have looked, how that would have felt. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, Now, obviously, I've never met Gable Steveson. I don't know what actually would happen. Neither do any of us. But I mean, if the reports are true that he thought he was the bee's knees, and then that just coming to anything you're doing, humble. Obviously, it's okay to be comfortable in your skill sets and everything and what you bring to the table. Obviously, you're a draw from the amateur wrestling world, but coming to the new environment, just ready to work and do the job. It's kind of my
Yeah, I
thing.
mean the Stevenson it was surprising just because he was a big name, but then also wasn't too surprising just because he hasn't done much. He was on NXT, I think, like a little bit, and then he was on, the thing with Corbin. It just never really clicked, whether that was his personality or just physically just wasn't able to get it. But I think it was also kind of like a money move, making a lot of money, not really giving a lot of output. So just in terms of, cutting some corners and shedding some cap space to use like a sports terminology, I think this one, it made sense.
He was so disliked. Baron Corbin was getting cheered, bro. It's crazy.
I mean,
CM,
Baron Corbin's over now, maybe
he
thanks
is.
to Gabe Stevenson.
CM Punk stuck at WWE HQ. Talk about it.
Well, Punk, he was at HQ because he was doing the Backlash pre-show, and it was at the headquarters, Titan Towers 2.0, whatever the hell they're calling it. And he, this is a Saturday morning, afternoon, and I guess he like went to the gym and like changed in a bathroom, and then noticed that everyone else in the building had left, and he's the only person in there, and he doesn't have a key card, and he's just locked inside. And so then he just went on a CM Punk shenanigans tour, going throughout, finding stuff he could find. He posted the OG WrestleMania 30 lineup card with the much rumored Sheamus and Daniel Bryan match, and was it CM Punk and Triple H or something like that? So, I mean, it was like a funny little story. I don't know how much of it was legit. If it was legit, I mean, he seems like he's fine now. He was able to make it to Raw, but yeah, it's a fun little story that happened on Saturday.
Yeah, he was going around to the statues of the wrestlers and knocking them on the private parts. Yeah. No. So what if he didn't have a key card? So you need a key card to exit.
I don't know. From what I mean, he said he doesn't have a key card, so he couldn't like go into different rooms that need a
Okay.
key card.
Okay. So okay, but I mean, but like he couldn't leave though.
That's what he said. I mean, I don't know how,
I mean, I've never heard of a building where you need a key card to exit.
or
That's
just like the door was locked and he can't lock it from. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how giant corporate buildings work. I mean, it's not like it's a regular door where it has a little switch on the door handle that you can just turn over if it's locked.
I know WWE's all high tech now.
Bro,
Jerry Lawler WWE broadcasting contract has expired.
yeah, we haven't seen Jerry Lawler on TV in some time. I think he was on NXT something back in November, but his broadcasting contract has officially expired, which is different. Still under a Legends contract, but he's been doing a lot of pre-shows, post-shows, and some offshoot commentary here and there. But it seems as though that is over. Jerry Lawler also kind of insinuated that maybe his on-screen WWE career is over. And he's had some health issues. Obviously, the big heart attack, like 10 years ago now at this point. But then he also suffered a stroke or another heart attack early last year. So he's been going through some health stuff. Seems like he's better now, but not super surprising because let's be honest, like you saw Jerry Lawler on your television, he wasn't really producing fantastic television. But end of an era.
This is the end of an era. Don't do that to him. Don't do that.
I mean, there's a lot of people like having fun with it on Twitter that they're going to get JR and Jerry Lawler back together on AEW, but that's not going to happen. As I said, he's still under contract with WWE under a Legends deal, but just you're not going to see him on TV. So don't get too excited, people.
Why won't we see him on TV?
Creative has nothing for him.
Creative can find something for him. Stop.
Well, maybe they can put him on Raw at the end of the year because Raw and ABC, there's that we all know Raw going to Netflix next year, where where NX pause Raw is going to Netflix, and there's a little, I forget what the exact timetable is, but like a 6 to 8 week time period at the end of the year to where there was a ghost zone of WWE. Raw didn't have a home, and they struck a deal with the USA Network with NBC Universal to
Yes.
bridge the gap. So for the
We got-
remainder of the 2024 year, Raw will continue to be on USA.
Yes, WWE and NBC Universal has struck a deal for $25 million to keep WWE Raw on the USA Network until it goes to Netflix in January of 2025. Good thing to see. Good thing to see. Raw on USA has always been it's just a safe space, man. I know they were on TNN for a few years, and then there are those spike years in the early to mid 2000s.
And it's had that consecutive week streak dating back to 1993. And I know they did not want to break that, and they might have been able to find some sort of deal like putting stuff on Peacock or something like that. But I know WWE really would have wanted to keep that streak, consecutive new broadcast every single week, and they did it.
Absolutely. So a member of the Saudi Arabian General Entertainment Authority spoke with ESPN and said that an enhancement to the deal with WWE is being worked on so that a major PLE could take place in Saudi Arabia. The events believed to take place there would either be a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania.
So as you guys know, not the biggest fan of the Saudi Arabia regime and the sports washing and all that stuff. I mean, they haven't killed a journalist in the past couple of years, so good for them on that front. But we just, me personally, I've just kind of like dealt with it and just kind of like plugged my nose at the King, Queen, and the Rings and the Crown Jewels and kind of those offshoot pay-per-views and stuff. But if they were to bring a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble, I mean, especially a WrestleMania, it would have like a giant stink on that whole thing. And like I get it, money and things of that nature, but I mean, I don't want to see it. I mean, I can maybe stomach a Royal Rumble, but WrestleMania, absolutely not.
You heard that here. Because Brandon doesn't like it, they shouldn't do it.
Exactly.
All right.
Think of the children. Think of the women.
Not the women. Not the women. WrestleMania 43, Detroit. Apparently, Detroit is about to put in a bid to have WrestleMania 43 in their home city because it would be the 20-year anniversary of WrestleMania 23 and then the 40-year anniversary of WrestleMania 3.
Just for them to lose it to Santa Clara or Seattle. I'll take either one.
They just stay on the West Coast for what? For
forever. And then we'll give London one. London, you guys can have one as long as Saudi Arabia doesn't get one.
London can have 44. Oh man, there's no inside the ring news, man.
I mean, I'm trying to
Dolph
think.
Ziggler lose the global title, right? In New Japan?
I guess.
What do you mean?
T's and P's and Nick Nemeth.
You're the New Japan guy.
I mean, I was the New Japan guy, but the New Japan's kind of fallen off. It's NBA and NHL playoffs. I've been locked into that.
You're supposed to be the guy.
Inside the ring, for some stupid reason, I mean, for a great reason, the all-knowing and all-powerful Ava, NXT General Manager, ran a combine to determine the list of the participants for the
yes
NXT Women's North American Championship. So shout out Sol Ruka. She got like they graded them like they're wrestlers on a video game. Like Sol Ruka got like a 95. So
yes.
good for them.
95 overall. You'll love to see it. Yeah. Is the combine out? Do we know?
I did not see. I mean, I didn't see any clips on social media, but I did see the posting of like the scores. So
I saw that also. Yeah. Yeah. I wish. Because I know like they've done like combines before, and they've been on the network or Peacock or whatever, and it was just hours of just these athletes going through unbelievable feats of strength and conditioning and cardio and all these other things. Yes, I mean those combines are very interesting. Yeah, David Finlay defeated Nick Nemeth at Wrestling Dontaku to become the new IWGP Global Champion. Big Bullet Club, huh?
Bang bang.
Not the bang bang. Anything but the bang bang. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on New Japan lately, bro? What's going on?
I mean, like I said, I've kind of fallen out of favor. I mean, I don't have my New Japan World streaming anymore, but they just have not done I think me personally, just like a good job at like building up new wrestlers or like people for me to like really care about. And I mean, I know they have like the new Three Musketeers that they're building up, but they haven't like been put in a super prominent position thus far. I mean, right now, John Moxley's the world champion. No disrespect to him. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. But I mean, he's gonna go hold that title for a little bit and probably drop it to somebody, and it's just gonna be like another world title reign for John Moxley. But It just kind of seems like they're stuck in the mud. New Japan is, and a lot of it, well, maybe not all of it, but the House of Torture like crap is kind of littered throughout the entire show of run-ins and ref bumps and distractions and all this other BS that we see in the US a lot, and we sort of put up with it, but it's even kind of taking a back seat to a WWE and stuff like that. But now we're getting in New Japan, which was kind of the place where it never happened, where it can just be in ring and wrestlers wrestle and someone wins, someone loses. But now we're getting kind of the American BS style leaking into New Japan, which is something I do not want to see. And there's your quarterly New Japan talk.
Yes,
You're welcome.
yes. Apparently, Dark Side of the Ring has wrapped up. Just looking at these things, man, they've done season 5. They've done
And
5.
can't confirm as there's 11 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring loaded up on my DVR right now.
What are the episodes? I mean, we haven't talked Dark Side of the Ring, guys. We're kind of just talking about like everything, really. That's what you're getting in this episode. I hope you enjoy it.
So what I've seen, they have a Sandman one. They have.
I saw that. Okay.
I'm not my phone. I could pull it up right now if you give me like.
Black Saturdays won the Rise of Vince. Okay. Jesus. Wow. Okay, what else? What else? What else is on here? I mean, have you watched any of these yet, or?
The last one I watched was what was the last one I watched? Oh my God. It was like a month ago, like a month and a half ago. And I just like randomly put one on. Oh, God damn it. I can find it if I like look through it.
This is great audio, everybody.
It is great audio.
Right.
Oh, the Marty Jannetty one. That was the last one, but that was from season 4. It was the Marty Jannetty one. He, goes over his hard life and, the breakup with Sean and his, dealings with his foot. And then he gets into like a very weird story to where he says he murdered someone, but then there's no reports or like confirmation that this person ever existed. And they kind of go down that rabbit hole that it's fake, but it's also real. And I don't know. But,
What?
yeah, he said that he was, what was it? He was at like a bowling alley and either he was trying to buy drugs or something. And he like goes into a car with some dude and the guy tries to like, rape him or whatever.
What the?
He gropes him or something. The Marty Jannetty tries to get away and he takes like a giant rock, smashes him over the head, and then he dies. And then then he just like throws the dude's body like in the river. But there's no like record of
wait.
There's no record of this guy existing. There's no record of a missing person. There's nothing.
I mean,
But Marty Jannetty swears by it. But then he said he was lying. But then he went back and said no, he's telling the truth.
What?
Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing to end on.
That's the end of season 5?
That's the end of season 4.
Oh.
Season 4, we got John Tenta, Buff Bagwell, Terry Gordy, Brutus Beefcake, Harley Race, Chris Colt, Chris Adams, Sherry Martel, Sandman, and Black Saturday.
Okay.
So a lot of look-ins and like the 80s wrestling.
Oh wow. I see. This is very interesting. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking through all this. Wow. Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, I know we covered it a lot when we first started this thing here, and we've kind of fallen off. I'm sorry about that. I really am. But yeah, man, this is all very, very interesting. Marty Jannetty. I saw him when I was out in Philly. You seemed like an okay guy, but given what you've just told me, Jesus, I don't know what to think anymore.
He seems like a nice guy if you catch him in the right mood.
Maybe he was just in the right mood.
Maybe.
Yeah. The Rock's grandmother. What? She was in one of these, right? Leah Maivia. Right?
I'm looking. I can't really find anything.
I mean, it's
I mean, unless it was kind of like a Dark Side of the Ring Productions, but wasn't actually a Dark Side of the Ring episode.
oh, okay. It was Tales from the Territory. Okay. What happened to that show?
I mean, I watched it a little bit. It didn't really intrigue me because it was just like a lot of stuff I kind of already knew, and then it's just like 4 or 5 wrestlers like around the table, like telling stories and like saying things, and it wasn't very like coherent, and like it didn't tell like a linear story. It just kind of like went all over the place. But
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what you mean. Yeah. Dark Side of the Ring. Then they got the A&E. Have you been keeping up the A&E docs?
absolutely not.
Why not?
I just don't watch them. I mean, I watched the collector show where Booker T and friends go and just collect random stuff, which I mean that show is a complete work. Like you can definitely tell. I mean, especially like when they go to like the wrestlers themselves, like they went to Terry's bar and grill down in Florida, and they had this like weird interaction with Mick Foley and Hulk, and they you know kiss and made up allegedly, and then they whatever took some stuff from his whatever bar, whatever the
So,
hell its place is called.
so this show's a work, but not the Kendrick Drake beef.
Absolutely not. It's still real to me,
Oh,
damn it.
okay. Before we get into that, before we get into the Kendrick and Drake of it all, ladies and gentlemen, we just stop talking about wrestling for the time being.
Philip,
Uh,
I'm sorry for sorry for your loss.
hold on. But why aren't you watching these A&E docs, bro? I watched the Randy Orton one. I was like, okay, all right. I've watched the Scott Hall one. I was like, okay, yes. A lot of it's some from some things we've already known.
I
Yeah.
think it just comes down to when it comes to like television stuff, I need to record it or else I don't watch it.
Okay.
And if I don't remember to record it, then I'm not going to watch it.
All right. Baby Hubert, before we
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Before we move on to anything else, thoughts on Raw, $25 million by NBC Universal to keep it for a few more months after their deal was originally supposed to run out, and thoughts on a major PLE going to Saudi Arabia. The rumor is either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania.
Okay, for the Raw thing, I'm glad that they figured that out because that was kind of like the one little issue here when they announced the deal to Netflix for January 2025. But their deal with USA ends what, like September, October?
October, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, what are they going to do the last couple months of the year? So I'm glad they were able to come to some agreement to finish off the rest of the year. And it'll be kind of cool for the last couple months of the year that they're going to have Raw and SmackDown on USA Network at the same time. And I'm sure for them, that probably USA Network's like, well, let's play nice here because we do have to maintain relations with them for the future with SmackDown, because that's going to be the future home once again for SmackDown. So no, I'm glad that that puzzle is solved. I think a lot of us were all like, what's going to happen? So I'm glad we got that answer. Now, as far as Saudi Arabia goes with a major show, it kind of bums me out if like a WrestleMania would be there, because obviously I'm not going to travel to Saudi Arabia for a WrestleMania.
Why not?
I don't know. Just, kind of concerned about my safety and
As a white man, baby, I think you'll be fine.
Yes, but hypothetically speaking, I'm thinking like maybe a lot of people from our side of the world might be a little hesitant to travel over there. That is a big trip to do. So, I'm kind of curious if they ever were to do one hypothetically, who would show up there.
Honestly, they just give them
Green shirt guy would still find a way to get front row.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or the guy with that flag that holds up the flag.
They can sacrifice like a Money in the Bank.
Brock Lesnar guy, he'll probably show up.
He's not Brock Lesnar guy anymore. He's just
he's still finding his new gimmick. But and then the clown guy, Mick Foley's son-in-law, Frank the Clown. So
he looks like Jared Leto Joker now, bro. Like
or the ref too, that guy with the ref shirt that's at like at AEW shows too. But like, okay, I kind of like the outline they have right now is like the 5 big pay-per-views for WWE. They're in North America. And now they're kind of like, okay, let's take the B-level pay-per-views and put them in other countries who are willing to pay for it. So it's a win-win. They're making money. They're hitting other parts of the world, audience, fans that have yet to see maybe a WWE live show in a long time. So you kind of check off a lot of boxes. But I'm sure for Saudi Arabia, the prince, he wants like a big show over there. He wants the whole spectacle. So
Like I
it
said,
sucks if they're sacrificing WrestleMania. Like if it's a Royal Rumble or something, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
give
It's a
them Money in
Royal
the
Rumble.
Bank.
Give him Survivor Series. We don't care about Survivor Series anymore. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So something like
Don't care
that.
about War Games.
But WrestleMania, that would hurt unless they do like, you know how they did the greatest Royal Rumble, which was like the second Royal Rumble show of the year, that one year.
Greatest WrestleMania.
So maybe they do like the greatest WrestleMania or Super WrestleMania. So, but it's like later in the year. So it's like
WrestleMania Mania.
Yeah, 2.0.
WrestleMania's 2 nights.
Night one in Vegas, night 2 in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly.
No, all the good stuff happens on night 2. Night 1 could be in Saudi Arabia. Night 2 could possibly be in Detroit. Baby Huey, WrestleMania 43, Detroit. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it was what SummerSlam was there last year, and that seemed pretty cool setup. But I know it would be kind of nice. Could be 40 years since WrestleMania 3 was there.
Yeah,
so
and then 20 years since WrestleMania 23.
Yeah, so like historically speaking, there's a lot of fun talking points they could have with that. I mean, I'm all for them just hit up different markets, and my concern is just areas that are like warm in that late winter, early spring season. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the weather in Detroit is mid-April, but as long as the weather is good, I'm all for it. As long as it just hits up more fans in different parts of the country, mix it up.
What's up, Huey? Let's go over to 8 Mile. Let's go over to Coney Island. Let's go into the email. And Brightest Day X.
Mr. X, who day?
If rumors of Jacob Fatu coming to WWE are true, would that make this version of the Bloodline more powerful than the original?
I would say more ferocious. Is that the right word? Savage. That's a word they used the other day.
Yeah, you see, I've noticed that, because Jake, he's a member of the South Pacific Savages with his brother and cousin and stuff. So yeah, I've noticed that.
I mean, maybe the star power is not the same because let's be honest, Roman Reigns, the Usos. I mean, Roman Reigns is number one guy in the company. Usos, one of the top greatest tag teams of all time. So like name recognition, star power would lean more towards the OG bloodline, but this new bloodline could really do something different. And I think as heels, they really embrace like the violence, the intensity. Like Tama at Backlash, that street fight, dude, he was like just laying into it. He was aggressive. So they could kind of, from a personality presentation, they could really change things up. That'd be something different we didn't see from the previous OG lineup.
And I mean, you could say when the OG bloodline first started in whatever, late 2020, early 21. Okay, Roman Reigns, who's a ice cold baby face, and the Usos, who have been around forever. I don't think people would have imagined it was going to be as big as it was. Now, I'm not saying this new bloodline can't be as big as that, but they still have a lot of time to build it. And like you said, I really enjoy Tama Tonga. And currently he's a mute. And Tama Tonga in New Japan, if you go see some of his promos, hit the fire he can bring. I mean, when the Gorillas of Destiny show up in like that war paint for like a War Games match, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, the Usos versus the Gorilla of Destiny. That's gonna hit like crack also, and I can't wait for that. Yeah. Moving on from that, all these things are popping up. Jesus Christ, God damn it. Let's see. Where else? Go over to the email. Here we go. Jesus, there are so many emails here. Did I just not delete any of these?
We just have so many fans, Philip. The millions. And
exactly.
millions.
I don't even remember.
Are they any of them from Copenhagen Smith?
Bro, what happened to that guy?
We'll see him in like 10 months.
Who's that?
So there was a guy that I think it was on Twitter. He used to DM us. His name was Copenhagen Smith, and like his profile picture was a can of Copenhagen chewing tobacco. And we didn't
Oh,
hear from him for like 2 years, and then he emailed us randomly like a year and a half ago.
nice.
Yeah, I don't.
Longtime fan.
Wherever he is.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I guess I just didn't delete these. Yeah, I feel like
Hopefully the Copenhagen didn't get him.
I feel like I've already seen a lot of these. Jesus. All right, here we go. This is new. Hootie Who 420.
Hootie who?
Mates, backlash was tremendous. What an amazing crowd. Imagine a WrestleMania out of the United States with a crowd like that for 2 incredible nights of unbelievable action. You're going to get that in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, pal.
I like to ask Baby Huey if I'm just a curmudgeon and an old man to where the France crowd, I still thought they were a fantastic crowd, but I did think there were some points where they were getting a little full of themselves and kind of were just chanting for the sake of chanting without actually like watching the show.
Yeah, there were moments where they were like, okay, we can hijack the show a little bit. Like,
All
there
right,
were
we
points,
get it. AJ is phenomenal, guys.
Yeah.
Let's settle down.
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
that's like a whole thing in their culture or something.
I give them credit for keeping up that energy all throughout the night of like that almost 3 hour window of the show. And you can make the point that like that was what the first time they had a show in France or a PLE. I mean, so for them, the excitement of like the first ever, they were super excited and they just want to live it up. And pretty amazing in unison. The crowd, the majority of them were all acting together. But yeah, there were a couple points where it's like, okay, like you don't need to do this all the time. But then again, they raised the bar, and I wonder if U.S. audience can take note from this and be like, guys, we got to step up our game and be more involved and like less, looking at your phone and doing other things. Be like really focused and into the show and really get involved, call and response, all that stuff. But I don't know. We'll see.
Hartford, Connecticut didn't get the memo. They didn't get inspired.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's just different cultures too, different parts of the world. People react differently. I mean, we're a little jaded here in America because we have it all the time, theoretically, between SmackDown and Raw and just how long they've been around as a company.
A Japanese crowd is different than a Mexico crowd, is different than a Canadian crowd, than a US crowd.
I think what it is, they figured, let's be so loud that they remember us that they have to come back here. I think that's probably what they were on. Moving on, Jack of all trades, France delivered an unbelievable PLE atmosphere, and Jay Uso, what an awesome entrance. That guy is a star for life now. Yeah, I mean, Jay's rise has been great. I mean, the Fireflies, obviously, the Bray Wyatt symbolism and everything, and I believe he talked about it in a digital exclusive. Go check that out. Dan, more.
Is it on tout?
Brandon lives in 2012.
Hey, that was my prime.
I can tell. Dan, Philip, I know you've talked about people asking you about Jacob Fatu. Oh, great. All right, here we go.
So let's ask about Jacob Fatu.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, Phil. You can outscoop Sean Ross Sapp right now with some inside dirt. Just saying.
Well, I have my own thoughts about him. Gotcha. Anyway, yeah. Going to WWE but what other members of the bloodline are there that are in the business that you think could join the company? Oh, let's just run down the list here. Let's run down the list. Let's see. Obviously, there's Lance. Zilla, he just got in the business, but he's making waves in GCW. Shout out GCW's going to Hawaii in November. I saw that. Let's take a trip, guys. Who else? There's Jacob's brother Journey. He's in the death realm. There's Iosefa Parisi. He's Keisha's nephew. Hell, they're throwing Tongans in there. I'll throw Juicy out there. Who else?
Who's just bought a promotion or in Pennsylvania?
That's you remember Manu?
Yeah.
That's Alpha Junior. That's Alpha Junior.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's Lance's uncle because that's Samu, who was a part of the Head Shrinkers. That's his brother.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know that family tree so well.
Well, Big Sam and I were chilling at WrestleMania.
That's awesome. Okay.
There's another one of them that wrestles in like the East Coast.
Okay.
I found out, and then I just found out about one that wrestles in New Mexico. Like he was like a commentator at this promotion, and then he turned heel and started wrestling.
What about
I know
the twin girls?
They're not so they're Tonga and the Tonga twins.
Okay,
but they were trained by Rikishi.
Gotcha. Okay,
but yeah, man, I just found out about Saleh Taylor. He's out in New Mexico for Duke City Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Matter of fact, Jacob just wrestled there a few months ago. So yeah, I mean there are members of this family that are in the business. It's just kind of pick and choose. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it would be. I mean, could you imagine just seeing Jake, Journey, Parisi, and Juicy on WWE television? Big pop out of me if that were to happen. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of members, and then there's going to be more to come. Tamiko, I mean, you know Tamiko. I mean, he's Kishi's son, Solo, and the Usos' brother. Whenever he steps back in the ring, he could get looked at too. There's a lot, man.
Well, yeah, Wikipedia says so. There's a lot.
Yes. There is that. Oh man, let's go over to this is from November. Did I read this? I don't remember. I don't remember ever reading this.
Okay.
Hell,
left unread.
Let's read it anyway. No, actually, you know what?
Still relevant.
This is the guy that emailed you, and you never read it on the show.
Well, then I would say you did read it because you bring this up like every other week.
Hell, I'll read it anyway.
People make mistakes.
This is from November 30th of 2023. I know why Brandon doesn't like transitional champions, because there's a moment in history that has traumatized him. SummerSlam 2013. You guys talk about it all the time. Cena has a couple months of run. Daniel Bryan beats him and immediately gets cashed in on by Randy Orton. This boohoo moment for little Brandon resulted in him not enjoying what could be an enjoyable moment for some, and got to be a better moment for all down the line.
Well, I would just like to say WWE is doing fantastic business. Best business they've done in like 20 years. And pretty much all their major champions have not been transitional. So, I mean, who's right and who's wrong?
I mean, but being the transitional champion led to the biggest moment of the guy's life. So, or biggest moment of his career, I'll say.
Yeah, got the plaque right there.
We've had transitional champions. Trick Williams was NXT champion or NXT North American champion for like 2 days. Stop.
Yeah,
I said major champions.
So wait, what's the question again? As far as
he's just yelling. He's just yelling at me.
Yeah, we had a conversation about like transitional champions, and Brandon's not in favor of them. Like Samoa Joe, would you consider that a transitional title run? You can make the argument.
Yeah, but now we need to go back to see what the origin of the argument was.
Yeah,
yes. Somebody go back to all of those.
He was champion for what, like 3.5 months,
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Monday Night Raw. The King of the Ring tournament is going on. Brandon, can you pull up the SmackDown side of the bracket while we're getting into this? A banger, as it's been notably called because it's a Sheamus match. Gunther defeats Sheamus in yet another epic matchup. Great matchup. Gunther getting back into the swing of things after being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Baby Huey, what are your thoughts on your counterparts match?
No, great match here. It's so what, this would be their second match? I mean, obviously the first one was at Clash of the Castle.
This is like their third or fourth.
Yeah, so they're building up a little I would say trilogy, but like a handful of matches together, and I still hope it leads to like maybe one more big match where Sheamus gets a win over Gunther. But so yeah, Gunther got the win here. Sheamus tapped out, which is I think only the second time he's ever tapped out on TV ever. I forgot the exact stat. I saw that on Twitter. But just amazing match. I mean, hard hitting. I mean, this week's episode of Raw, we got a lot of in-ring action, a lot of matches than we usually get. And they still ran out of time. And a couple matches of the King and Ring tournament got postponed to house shows this weekend. So if you're a big wrestling fan, you got your fix of that this past week. And yes, it was main evented by, or headlined by, Gunther versus Sheamus. But that was such a great match. I mean, just Gunther's hand marks on Sheamus's chest, like that, the body, because his pale skin to begin with. So obviously those handprints stick out even more.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to run it like Tommy Dreamer and Raven in ECW. It's going to take Sheamus 2 years to beat.
That'd be cool.
Brandon, what are your thoughts on Gunther and Sheamus?
Another really good match, as you would expect. I did like both promos from the guys leading into it, but I really did enjoy Gunther's promo. Was like basically what, my sentiment. I don't care about having a great match. I just care about winning. So good on you, Gunther. So I just, yeah, like maybe you said, a lot of just standard wrestling. It kind of takes me back to the AEW tournament they did at the end of the year. It was just a lot of wrestling, and they were all really good matches for the most part.
Another really good match. The debuting Ilya Dragunov defeats the inaugural WWE Speed Champion Ricochet. Hell of a match, man. I mean, that suplex at the end and then the H bomb. I mean, Jesus, man, they went for it.
Yeah, I mean, showcase for Ilya. You know, he had the debut against Shinsuke, but it didn't like show as much as what he could do. And this
Mhm.
definitely did show what Ilya can do. And you know, his I think he has like a good enough character, and kind of like his promo work has gotten better over the last year or so as a champion. But
What is his,
he's definitely gonna build his aura with these types of matches.
I mean, what is his character like? I mean, he's just intense. Right?
He's just a crazy Russian guy.
I think he's just intense. I think that's his character. Like as I'm watching some old school wrestling, I'm watching some Chris Benoit, and I'm like, well, he was just an intense wrestler too. So you can see some comparisons there. Just I guess if you're just intense, you'll make it, huh?
I think they did a good like video package before the match where it was
Yeah.
just him working out and he was him talking over it and just like him, I forget what the exact words were, but like I'm gonna work harder and be win this thing and stuff like that. It's very like sports centric and it's not over the top, but that's kind of what his character is.
On the Raw side, semifinals, Gunther and Ilya. I'm down. Speaking of the bracket, what's on the SmackDown side of the bracket?
So I couldn't find anything like on the women's side, so I don't know if it's been released yet. But on the men's side, we got AJ Styles taking on Randy Orton,
Oh,
Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes,
okay.
LA Knight and Santos Escobar,
Okay.
and then Lashley and Tama Tonga. So interesting, they're throwing Tama Tonga in there. So I
I
mean,
could see him getting a DQ loss to kind of save him. Not against Bobby Lashley, but like maybe later on. Hell, he might meet Randy Orton. Like we don't know.
It's gonna be interesting because my favorite to win is Gunther, but it's interesting what stories could come out of this whole tournament, King of the Ring tournament. I mean, could Tama go all the way to the finals and face Jey Uso, who sub for a fill-in for Drew McIntyre? So could you get the two of them who were eyeballing each other backstage? Was at Backlash in the backstage area? So could they lead to a matchup? As you just said, Gunther versus Ilya. Could that be, could be like their third match after the two incredible NXT UK matches? I hope they don't. I hope they save that for you got to build up Ilya more. Like he's brand new to the roster. You got to build him up and save that matchup and then go play into the whole history of the two of them later down the road on a bigger stage platform, not on a random episode of Monday Night Raw for the King of the Ring tournament. But just that potential, that's fun to think about. Ricochet, though, I am a little disappointed he did not wear the speed title to the ring. Like, come on, man. They should be wearing it, though. Wear it proudly. Show off that new bad boy.
Right.
Yeah, but it's I mean, what was AJ Styles is in the tournament for SmackDown on the SmackDown side. So can he like collect himself after losing to Cody Rhodes at Backlash? Like even LA Knight kind of, needs pick up some more wins here. So
Yeah.
there's a lot that could happen from this tournament.
Absolutely. Damian Priest apologizes to Judgment Day for sniping at them at Backlash, and then this leads to Adam Pearce coming out there and saying Drew McIntyre's replacement is none other than main event Jey Uso. Drew McIntyre just shows up at ringside, and that nonetheless Jey Uso with a spear defeats Finn Balor to advance in the King of the Ring tournament. Jey Uso versus Gunther could be something.
But first again, Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov. So, I mean, a little bit of a distraction finish in this one, but the other matches they played them really straightforward, and I do wonder how that's going to work in this tournament because, leading into when kind of after WrestleMania, a lot of the TV matches have kind of ended in distraction, BS, and other types of finishes. So I hope they kind of stay away from that in this King of the Ring tournament. But like we kind of talked about, looking at some of these guys like Tama Tonga, I don't know if he's going to lose clean. Like Gunther, obviously, Dragunov, they're still going to try to protect. So I do wonder what's going to happen on that front. But yeah, once again, shocker. The Judgment Day kind of get into a little bickering contest, and then they just make up the next day. It's happened like 10 times now at this point.
It's like a high school relationship.
No, that really is like an ongoing theme. Like they have a little bickering back and forth, and then they make up, but they're not really addressing the bigger issues here. Like what's going on? Why is everyone kind of on each other's nerves so easily?
You know what they need?
Counseling.
They need Dr. Shelby.
I was gonna say. But the thing is, like, what's Dominic cooking? He is.
Oh, I know what he's cooking.
So, Liv Morgan took some photos, posted them on her IG. There's a
Mhm.
bandana or purple bandana in her pocket.
Dominic had the purple bandana to start the show, did not have it in the backstage segment with the Judgment Day.
Mhm. So I know Liv's whole motto right now is like she wants to destroy everything Rhea had as far as getting revenge. Is the ultimate part of revenge. It's like destroying the Judgment Day from within. Like
Bruh.
she's influencing Dominic Mysterio, and she's gonna maybe be the wedge that breaks up the Judgment Day.
Why do you think he's rocking the Dirty Sanchez, bro? It's reminiscent of when Eddie cheated on his mamacita, bro. I'm telling you, bro. SummerSlam. I'm gonna need Rhea versus Liv, the woman's world title in custody of Dominic. I'm gonna need all that. The ladder match.
No, SummerSlam should be Dominic versus Rhea. I don't think they're going to do that.
They have
but
to do that.
The heat for that would be just insane.
He's like, "Mommy, no," and she just decimates him. That'd be funny. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Drew McIntyre is looking for CM Punk. He drives away. Punk finally gets out of WWE headquarters and shows up. Beautiful car. Says he's looking for Drew McIntyre. Then goes out there and has Adam Pearce hit his music. Love the single shot, man. Love it. Punk out there talking his ish.
Not the strongest promo.
Yeah, this was one of the two promos that, whether it was the Hartford crowd or just the substance itself, did not go over well. And this was a fairly weak CM Punk promo.
Mm-hmm.
We also did get a not so veiled shot at Jack Perry, being he's a choke artist, get it, guillotine. So, I mean, I thought maybe CM Punk has matured and was like, I'm over this, but obviously
he literally said he's the most petty man on the planet.
If so, I mean,
lean into.
Can we just get over this?
Do it. That's how you do it.
Not a good promo. And then also the whole point of the promo was he was trying to kill time to have Drew come back, and then Drew just never came back. So it was like that was a waste of time.
My thing is, I'm with you, Phil. I did like that whole one shot as far as Drew walking out. Here's telling him you can't compete. You admit it. Your elbow's hurt. We got it checked out. You can't compete. So he storms off, drives off, and then as he pulls away, CM Punk pulls in, talks to Adam Pearce. I want to go to ring. Cue my music. All one continuous shot. How smooth it was. CM Punk acknowledges Alpha Academy and Chad Gable,
Jackie Redmond
as well. A little hockey talk right there. Now on paper, it was like, yeah, CM Punk promo, even the Becky Lynch promo. Like on paper, you're like, you got these star power, it's the big name people coming out doing these promos. I felt both of them were not that strong this week. Even like Becky and Michael Cole, it was like wasn't the best promo or interview segment. It just I felt like that could have really been cut down or could have been just done quickly, like in a backstage segment. It just what I'm getting at is both these segments took up a lot of time, and maybe you could have had one extra match from the King of the Ring tournament instead of being pushed over to a house show. I'm sure for them, they're like, you want to mix it up and you want to tell some other stories to build up to other matches for the Saudi show, for the Clash show. So I think for them, they're probably like, we can't just do everything King of the Ring tournament this night. We have to tell other stories as well and build to that because those pay-per-views are going to come up pretty quickly. But nonetheless, it was like maybe those segments could have been cut down. You could have got one extra match, or the execution of it was not the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, for the Hartford consumer, you send out Punk and Becky, at least the fans get to see them. That's that's a thing. Well, I got to see CM Punk live, and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Liv and Becky have their promo or whatever. Damage Control comes out there. Liv gets out the way. Laya Valkyria comes out there to help Becky Lynch. Then Valkyria will go on to defeat Kota Kai. And is it still the Queen's Crown or is it the Queen of the Ring?
It's Queen of the Ring because it's King and Queen of the Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she advances in the Queen of the Ring. Congratulations. Gable and Reed is broken up by Sami Zayn as he comes out there. Then Bronson Reed is standing tall. So at King of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, or is it just Jeddah or Riyadh? Do we know?
I don't know. Who cares?
Okay, see. Don't say things like that. They're listening.
Well, I'm not going to go to a Saudi Arabia consulate anytime soon.
They may come over here. Gable and Reed and Zayn triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship in Saudi Arabia. Io Sky goes on to defeat Natty to advance in the Queen of the Ring, and then Zoe Stark, hell of a good match with Ivy Nile. She advances.
Happy birthday, EO. Turned 34 today.
Wow.
Since we don't do birthdays anymore.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I the women's matches were kind of a little bit of a step down from the men's matches, but I think they all kind of played out for what they were supposed to be. All the winners.
Yeah.
I mean, Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile. There was probably maybe a little bit of a question of who would have went over there, but obviously Io and Valkyria, there was no real question. I want to go back to the Becky one because the Becky promo. I mean, I think CM Punk and Drew will be fine because I think when they do like back and forth promos, it's going to be good. They'll figure it out. The Becky one, I think we've kind of seen for a while now. This Becky character has not been working, and I don't know what the issue is because I'm a fan of Becky, but I can see that she's not getting a lot of crowd reactions.
She kind of lost her aggression. Like she lost being the man. I mean, I know she was big time Bex and was a bad guy or bad girl for a while. But then, she turned good again for the last year. But it just, I'm with you, Brandon. It hasn't been hitting. There's something missing. She's like really like, I saw some people online saying like she's praising more the women's division instead of maybe calling it out and like trying to get that division fired up and like wanting competitors coming after her.
Well, she tried to like put over the call ups and it was like Alba Fire and whatever the other girl's name is.
Isla Dawn.
They won tag titles and then Lyra Valkyria, like she's Irish and I wrestled there and she's great. And I was like, okay, like
I mean
that's it.
She's trying to I get it. She's trying to put them over and like establish them and use her name, her name value to put over these younger women on the roster in the women's division, which is nice of her, but is it really like it's not at the intensity is not there. It's not getting me emotionally like fired up for her next feud or whoever it's going to be. So it's there's something missing with her character right now. It's a little, maybe that's the point. Maybe she hits rock bottom at some point and
I heard
she has to
someone
find the eye of the tiger.
I heard someone compare her to like Seth, where it was like Seth before his current iteration where he's just kind of like lost in the shuffle. I guess Becky needs to Becky needs a theme song to get the crowd to chant along with them. Maybe that's the issue.
He needs to find the vision for the greater good. These are all the things Seth did to get to where he is now. Maybe just Nia needs to punch her in the face again and she'll bleed again and then everybody will love her again. AEW happened.
It did happen.
OC defeated Trent, or do they still do that? No.
It's like Trent with a question mark, but then they also still call him Trent Barrett. I don't know. But Orange Cassidy gets a win with the exposed turnbuckle into a roll up, and then Trent beats the crap out of Orange Cassidy after the match. So, OC gets the win, but Trent gets the heat put on him. And Chris Statlander continues to kind of be a part of this. I don't know, because there was at the very beginning where Trent whispered something into Statlander's ear, and it kind of seemed like she understood what he was talking about. So maybe we're going to get some sort of team up with them. And then also Don Callis is on the outside. He did commentary throughout the entire night because Taz either, had surgery done or something happened to where he couldn't be on the show. So Don Callis was there.
Oh yeah, like his knees or something, right?
Yeah. And so then they continue to tease that Don Callis is scouting and trying to recruit Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy's not shooting him away. So I don't know what's up with that. Shout out Hurricane.
Don Callis family's going through it. Shout out Will Hobbs.
Yeah, T's and P's. And Will, with them being in Canada right now, Will Ospreay's not doing any of these shows.
Why not?
I mean, I assume it's some sort of like visa issue because he's only like allowed to wrestle in the United States and he can't go to Canada.
Gotcha.
I think. I don't know. I mean, that just makes sense to me because I think you would want Will Ospreay to be on your shows.
I didn't even notice.
That's because are you watching the shows, Philip? I mean, he's watching everything. Philip watches everything, of course.
Yeah, the boys are always watching. Kenny Omega announces Anarchy in the Arenas was FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Eddie Kingston.
Yep, he announces from a hospital bed, and he said, "Oh, you'll find out sooner or later. And they had an overrun on the show, so this was kind of jumping to the very end of the show, where the Young Bucks, or I guess the new Elite, are cutting a promo when they get interrupted by FTR. And my thinking was, oh, are we gonna get like a returning Kota Ibushi? No, it's Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. So after Bryan Danielson fainted that he was dead from the Storm Driver, he's just back now. So cool. We did all that for nothing.
Isn't that the case?
Well,
Isn't that what seems to happen all the time?
Danielson just loves to make people think he's dead.
Well, like, yeah, one week he's a bad guy, another week he's a good guy. He just constantly flip flops depending on the storyline, who he's wrestling this week. So he's back to being like a baby face and team representing Team AEW.
I mean, it does feel like this is going by a little quickly, but I mean, the Elite are kind of running roughshod. This is obviously kind of the first step
Are there?
of, this is AEW versus the Elite, and then now we're gonna probably get like Elite versus Elite. They're gonna cuck the Bloodline Civil War by probably a couple months in a War Games match.
Blood and guts, yeah.
Sorry, Blood and Guts.
Who from AEW? I'm trying to think. Like Sammy Guevara, he's having a child, or he had a kid, or whatever. Darby Allin,
Suspended.
And he's suspended.
Yeah.
that Darby Allin got hit by a bus. I'm just trying to think of like
The
like
Pillars.
true AEW originals. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say Ricky Starks, but he's just off TV for no
You can
reason.
see Ricky Starks at Big Time Wrestling May 31st at the Newark Pavilion in Newark, California.
That's where he is.
BTWrestling.com for tickets.
Yes. Big plug. I miss
Like I've tried like other old OG AEW roster members. I mean, yeah, we Hangman.
What's he doing?
He got taken out by Swerve, or he was suspended, right? He got suspended from the Elite. The Elite suspended him. And that's how Swerve and Joe were able to kind of go off as a separate one-on-one feud. So, yeah, it's kind of a weird combo. But I guess all their motivation is they all want to take out the current Elite. I guess makes FTR with the Young Bucks.
I mean, I guess Danielson and Kingston have something against Okada.
Yeah, exactly.
Danielson, he's the history with authority, so.
And everyone hates Jack Barry.
Yeah.
Even like half the people love him. So who knows?
Cool. Serena Deeb had a promo.
She did. They did the gimmick where they do the interview on the stage with their back turned to the crowd. And I thought that was a questionable decision because I guess they're going with Serena Deeb as a babyface. But then you could tell the crowd is definitely behind Toni Storm. And then the crowd, she's cutting a promo, just like talking about how much this match means to her, how she's, coming back after 15 months. And then they're in Edmonton. Tonight, they have a playoff game. So there's a lot of Edmonton Oilers fans out there wearing their jerseys. They chant, "Let's go Oilers," right before Serena Deeb then goes into the explanation. She's been out for 15 months because of seizures. And then like the crowd got very quiet and was like, okay, maybe we should be quiet. So it was a very awkward part of the promo, which I think they probably should have done a backstage promo instead of the on-screen one because I felt like it was destined to fail, to be honest. But then Toni Storm comes out and Serena Deeb lays out Toni Storm. So we're getting some sort of a build for the AEW women's title. But they continue to push Storm as a heel for some reason.
Swerve and Christian promo, some Kendrick and Drake references happened.
Yep. West Coast boy going after a fake Toronto dad. And the Mogul Embassy, which still was a thing for news to me. They backed up Swerve until they didn't.
Who's in the Mogul Embassy again?
Brian Cage and friends. I do not know the name of the other two guys. Two Pacific Islanders. That's all I know.
Wow, bro. Look them up.
All right, I guess I'll look them up.
It's Toa, right? Oh. I know, bro. I know, brother.
No, let's see.
What is his name? I'm blanking. Oh, God.
No Prince Nana on the show today.
No, Baby Huey, do you know?
Sucked.
What, their names?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Toa Leona and
Yes.
Cone.
Yes, Toa Leona, yes.
So.
Shout out, brother.
But It just seems so random. They just attacked Swerve.
Well,
Was it?
the premise was that he was getting their backup to go up against Christian and their friends, and then they turned on him, and then they did a little segment backstage where Christian talked with the Young Bucks, and they were like, "Oh, great plan, guys!" So I guess the Young Bucks planned this, or Christian planned this. So it wasn't
Gotcha.
completely fleshed out, but I assume we'll get some sort of full explanation later.
The Mogul Embassy attacks Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because I mean, the Mogul Embassy, like as a collective, like was never really a thing, especially during Swerve's ascension. So as a top tier babyface champion, it makes sense to kind of split him off.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, you turned your back on us." Okay, yeah, okay, I see. The Copeland Open, he defeated Brody King to retain the TNT title, and then somebody came out and challenged him, right?
A
Kyle O'Reilly.
big old bloody mess. Yep. Kyle O'Reilly, who's from Vancouver, which got a big boo from the crowd because the Oilers are playing the Vancouver Canucks. They're gonna be in Vancouver on
The
Collision.
Vancouver Cucks? Is that what you just said?
Canucks.
Oh, geez,
Canucks.
I thought you said something.
I mean, there's probably some cucks in Vancouver, but we don't shame. We don't kink shame around here. So we're gonna get Copeland taking on Kyle O'Reilly at Collision on Saturday for the TNT title. I mean, the match the match was fine, but the finish was never really in doubt. I think we all knew Copeland was going to win, and we got the spear through an outside table minus the fire
The Collision's still on,
for now.
but their biggest star got fired.
Got to write out that contract, brother.
I guess, Mercedes Monet promo. I've seen the internet talk about her promos. Huey, how do you feel about these?
They haven't been hitting. They definitely feel not as natural, like she's just memorizing lines.
But I thought this was a place where you can just speak freely. There are no writers, and you don't have lines.
Well, I mean, that's something a lot of people online have been saying is like Mercedes' flaws have been exposed because she doesn't have the WWE machine behind her. I've missed some episodes. I haven't seen everything she's been doing on screen to make a full analyzing that myself, but she is someone I think who's always done more. Her in-ring work speaks for herself and who her character is. With that being said, I hope, things will progress more for her and she gets better on the mic. But I've not seen enough of her promos I've not seen tonight's promo yet to make a full breakdown of it. But just kind of reading comments online, Twitter, and all that stuff, people have been very critical of her performance on the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't wrestled yet, huh? Double or Nothing's.
No.
That's
no,
what,
I mean, I think this
weeks?
promo, next 26.
Oh,
I think the promo was more of the same. I mean, I think her last promo in ring wise with Willow was kind of maybe teasing her being heel, or maybe that's just people like reading into her not being very likable. So they were just like, maybe they're gonna go with this and make her heel. But it was very, like as you said, Baby Huey, like very kind of scripted and kind of just very stiff sounding. She was like putting over how, oh, I'm gonna go sit courtside at the Celtics game. Then I'm gonna go see, throw at the first pitch at the Red Sox game and like all this other stuff. And it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like very, I don't know, it just felt off. And she's kind of just in her own little world doing all these different things. It didn't even feel like she was talking to Willow. She was like just talking about herself and just
Gotcha.
doing her own thing.
wow. Well, when's Double or Nothing again?
Memorial
May 26th.
May 26th.
Where it all
Collectible
begins
Stampede,
again.
Woodland, California. Come watch Alpha Zo defend the Bullet Cast heavyweight title against Surza and Dante Daring. Yes, there you go.
That's a busy weekend. So King and Queen of the Ring is
the
Saturday, the 25th, and then
Saturday, the 25th. Come to Oasis Pro. Go time, Berkeley, California, 7 p.m. Or if you're in the South Bay, Ugwa / Palooza, May 25th. Narrative Fermentations, Boss Man's birthday. I'll be at both. Anyway, that's gonna do it for our show. Thank you guys so much. I guess we didn't get into it. I said we'd get into it. Let's talk about this Kendrick and Drake beef. Let's talk about this beef. It's a work. It's all the work. It's all the work to sell some albums when they eventually release their albums, to get some streams up on these singles. let's all calm down.
That's
Now,
just the Drake fan and him coping right now.
I know
guys.
I know. Yeah, you're gonna shut the hell up. You're not even gonna say that here. Now I know they're talking about, well, he's being exposed. This is like a work shoot promo. That's exactly what this is. You use real life aspects, some girl I think just spoke out or something that was 17 when she was on stage with Drake and said his team kicked her out of the thing, and now she's gonna go back to her life and go get like a law degree or something. Kudos to you, baby girl. Congratulations. Yeah. This is the thing. I do like the line in one of them where Kendrick's like, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you dress. I was like, that's actually I might have to use that. That's funny.
We even CM Punk name drop some of his lyrics, right, on his promo this week.
Yeah, Kofi Kingston, he just flat out said Drake and Kendrick. So, it's a thing that happens here, man. It's a thing that happens. But yeah. It's not real. Stop it. You guys are good. Then the people that are online, just vigorously like breaking down every bar. I'm like, this has become too much. Like, let's calm down. None of this matters.
I mean, what is there to break down about certified lover boy, certified pedophile? I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
But then Drake rebutted with if that's true, I would have been locked up. Come on now.
Yes,
man.
because there's never been any famous people who have ever been accused or arrested for pedophilia or sexual assault. That's never happened. Never happened before.
No, that's not what I said. He said if it was true, he would have been locked up. That's
exactly. Because Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly,
Michael. See the
Epstein, Weinstein.
Okay, let's get into this. Bill Cosby's actually gone to prison for all that stuff, but then some women have come out and said nothing happened. So then you have to think about how real is all this. The Michael Jackson of it all, there were hella kids at that estate. There should be way more cases than there are. And the one from the 90s, the kid came out and said nothing happened after he died, like a couple days after. And then the Epstein of it all, I really don't know too much about that, honestly.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
I have nothing to say about any of that. But let's just leave it as it is. They're making music. The songs are good. I can just listen to the songs.
The Kendrick songs are good.
Stop yourself.
The Hard Part 6, absolute trash.
Wait, which one?
The Hard Part 6. See, Philip is out here talking about all this beef. He doesn't even listen to the tracks.
I did, bro. I listened to Family Matters. Listen to that one. I listened to the.
Let's see. He listened to Push-Ups. He listened to Family Matters, and that's it.
Bro, did he release 3? Did Drake release 3 songs?
Yeah.
Am I just behind?
Yeah.
Really? Baby Huey, how do you feel about this?
You just referenced when he said he couldn't have been arrested. He couldn't have been diddling those kids because he's famous.
I have no idea.
Okay, whoa, wait, that's not.
You just referenced the line that was in the Hard Part 6.
That is not.
You said if he would have been arrested by now because he's so famous.
I didn't.
Then what did you say?
Well, I did listen to the Heart Part 6. I did listen to that one. Okay. Yeah, he only released 2 songs, bro. Family Matters and the Heart Part 6. That was it.
Well, the first one was Push-Ups, which was like a week ago. Come on, get your beef timeline.
I didn't see that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with it. Baby Huey, let the people know where they can find you.
You can follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Follow my podcast In the Click. KLIQ. We're all over YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch all those videos, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, share them, all that good stuff. All the engagement we would truly appreciate. And follow us at In the Click on social media as well. I've been trying to be more active on Instagram again. So whenever I have some free time, been posting stuff there as well. So please follow us wherever you can, and greatly appreciate all the support.
Absolutely. You guys know where to find us. We're back next week with another podcast. Be safe and stay dangerous.
Moving on everything that's pronouncing it. Everything we did in the time now with the testament. Here is the feeling when we live on the stage. And everything we do, turning the page. Nobody doesn't like us. The feeling when we move, we are excited. Elite podcasting. I know you like it. Yeah, the bullet cast. Fearless. The bullet cast. Fearless. The bullet cast. Fearless. Elite fearless. The bully cast now, fearless. Elite podcast. No, we on.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.